Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Gazette. How are you today? Hope everybody's having a great day. Let me push a button here. Okay, that's fixed. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hello, Cheyenne. Welcome. I didn't know you'd be up this early. Hope you're having a good day. Well, it is a good day here in the Sportcat studio. It's always a good day here in the Sportcat studio. I've got lots of breaking news for you and lots of interesting things. So we're going to dive right in, unless anybody has any questions, comments, queries, or I don't know, anything else. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and I want to encourage everybody to go do a Wednesday waffle. And if you don't know what that is, Google it. But basically, it's a short video where you send it out to all your friends and you tell them what's going on in the past week, how you are, what's been going on, just update everybody on everything. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the show. And it allows you to, you don't have to text. You don't have to talk to people. You can just shoot a quick video out. So I'm encouraging everyone to do a Wednesday waffle. Check on your loved ones. Send it to your friends and family. But send it here to the show, sportcat@protonmail.com, and I'll put it on the air. Or if you don't want to do a video, you can do a little audio message. Go over to speakpipe.com/sportcat and send me your Wednesday waffle. Let me know how you are, what's going on, and I will play it on the air live Thursday. And I will play Thursday my Wednesday waffle. I'm going to put it on TikTok, YouTube. I don't know. I may figure out how to do Instagram. Who knows? Reels. I'm learning technology every day. So if not, I've got a grandson to teach me, and I've got a great tech support in my son. So, all right. Well, let's get into some news because, we have some crazy things going. Are we tariffing? Are we not tariffing? Are we going to go to war? Or are we not going to go to war? So many questions, but things are heating up. And so let's just dive right in here. The Trump administration is threatening to double tariffs on Canadian steel. He posted on Truth Social that the tariffs would go from 25 to 50 starting on Wednesday. Yes, a move that comes in response to the province of Ontario, our northern neighbors, placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming into the U.S. He is declaring a national emergency for the three states Ontario has targeted for the tariffs so that the tariffs can go into effect. He also called on Canada to drop its duties on American dairy products and threatened to substantially increase tariffs on cars imported into the U.S. if Canada did not drop other egregious, I don't know, bad things, long-time tariffs. Hey, so welcome. And Trump has doubled down on this rhetoric to Canada, and that, the only thing that makes sense, he says, is for our northern neighbor, Canada, to become our cherished 51st state, Trump wrote. This would make all the tariffs and everything else totally disappear. Totally go away. CNBC has reported that Trump had not yet signed formal paperwork to officially increase the tariffs, citing a senior administration official who added it was in the works and remained a threat rather than an action until that paperwork's prepared and signed. Ontario Doug Ford had on Monday announced a 25% surcharge on electricity tapped by some 1.5 million residents of Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. It's actually a little larger than New York. I'll show you a map here in a minute. In response to Trump's recent bellicose language towards Canada. And, the stock market isn't reacting well to this. It's tumbling yet again. The S&P and 500 are down. I don't know much about stocks. I can just tell you I'm hearing everybody say panic. Canada has quickly emerged as target of Trump's ire amid second presidential term putting America's closest ally on rockier footing. Earlier this month, Trump insulted, then pulled back tariffs on a variety of Canadian goods as he goaded its leaders and blamed them for lack of action on the fentanyl trafficking. Relative little other drug is seized at the northern border compared to the U.S.-Mexican border. In another Truth Social post late on Monday, Trump called Canada a longtime tariff abuser. And Chris says, a lot of people are saying this picture of me is the best presidential photo of all time. Many people think so. You're talking about the one that CNBC used there. It's shocking, or NBC News. It's shocking as much hell as he gives them. So I personally prefer the one here in the Fulton County Jail. That's my favorite. I should have that one framed because I know right where he was. So let's see. They put the 25% surcharge on electricity by 1.5 million residents in Michigan, Minnesota, and New York, the New England region, in response to his language towards Canada. The stocks are crashing. The market is going up and down. And then there's been some, yes, we're tariffing. No, we're not tariffing. Yep, we're tariffing. No, we're not tariffing. Oh, Lord have mercy. So, but apparently Canada has been tariffing us a lot. So a spokesperson for the Michigan Public Service Commission told the AP Monday the impact on the state's residents was likely to be small. Minnesota's governor, Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's running mate, said likewise expected minimal impact for the state. All right. So Trump, in response to that, well, Canada's got a new guy, and apparently he's a big mouth too. Time to shut down the power. Canadians react to Trump doubling steel and aluminum tariffs on Canada. And hello there, Wendell. On Tuesday morning, Trump announced the higher tariffs will come into effect 12 March, saying Canada will be one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world. Even China apparently is adding tariffs onto Canada because of the amount of tariffs they are charging exports to other country. Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff of 250% to 390%, which is their tariff on various U.S. dairy products, which has long been considered outrageous. I will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what has to be done to alleviate the abusive threat from Canada, he wrote on a Truth Social post. Trump continued saying, the only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. It's a big, beautiful, bold, I don't know, there's some other superlatives there for Canada. They got ice and snow and lots of mountains and stuff that would make our wonderful 51st state. I'm not too sure why he continues to attack his closest friends and allies, but we need the American people to speak up. This is what the Canadians are saying. They need us to speak up. You had to leave, so you broke camp so that you could get all the latest Sportcat Daily Gazette and report it back to your Bigfoot group. Wendell, that is dedication. I applaud you, sir. I applaud you. If I had an applause button nearby, I would probably hit it, but I don't. Wait a minute, maybe I do. Hold on. Maybe I do. There we go. That's just for you, Wendell. So, and Cheyenne responds in the comments, well, we do need to do more stuff. Agreed. Americans need to stop relying on other people, just as though Europeans need to stop relying on Americans. So anyhow, the tariffs come after Ford implemented a 25-cent surcharge on energy exports, which came into effect yesterday. Ford rolled out the fee as a retaliatory measure in response to Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian imports, which go into effect next month. Online, Canadians are reacting to Trump's doubling tariffs. Okay, I was against the trade war, but now I think I'm back on team trade war, wrote one ex-user. Time to shut down the power to the Yanks. Are we the Yanks? I always thought the Yanks were Northern, so wouldn't. Okay. Sounds like Trump just tweeted and wanting to F around with Canada and is directly threatening Canada in broad escalation and forcefully now saying it will be the 51st state. Now is the time to act and fight back. Tariff the hell out of him, including non-tariff measures, another one said. while others are not in favor of the retaliatory measures. Okay, Doug, calm down. How about us work together with the U.S.? One ex-user said. Your response, this is going to do more harm than good, said another. Well, there's all kinds of escalations there. These are the areas expected to be hit in the United States. And as you can see, it's Michigan, New York, Vermont, and Minnesota. And of course, they say it will be minor, but that is yet to be determined. We shall see. So another beautiful photograph of Trump on Unilad. He is declaring a national emergency. Trump is getting the paperwork together. I pulled this up just before coming to air to have a national emergency as trade war between Canada and the U.S. escalates. President Donald Trump has declared a national emergency as Canada slapped its U.S. citizens with a major tax increase. The trade war between the U.S. and Canada is simmering over the 47th POTUS and has retaliated to the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, taking aim at the pockets of everyday Americans through a hefty hike in its electricity bills. The 78-year-old Republican announced that he was doubling his plan on tariffs to the Canadian steel and aluminum exports from the U.S. to 25 to 50% starting tomorrow, 12 March, and substantially increasing tax on Canadian manufacturers' car coming into the United States next month. In response, there's the premier of Doug Ford, the new guy, the HMIF. In response, Canada's own reprisals for the tariffs of the Trump administration, the president took to Truth Social, said he would declare a national emergency shortly. I'll be declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what it has to be done to alleviate this abusive threat from Canada, he wrote. The threatened areas are New York, Minnesota, Michigan. And they leave out Vermont, but it's plainly on the map, which Ford vowed to stop the flow of electricity to hundreds of thousands of Americans that rely on Ontario power grid. If Trump continues to escalate the trade war, the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, has threatened to cut the flow of electricity to the American households if he continues this trade war. At a press conference on Monday, the 10th, Ford said, we will apply maximum pressure to maximize our leverages. That's why today we're moving forward with a 25% surcharge on electricity. This means for 1.5 million Americans, homes and businesses that Ontario powers in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York, Vermont, this surcharge will cost families and businesses in these states up to $400,000 each and every single day. On the average, that will add up to about $100 per month, which is going to be on the average hardworking American's bill. He said it all began with the president signing an executive order in which Trump claimed Canada, Mexico, and China pose an extraordinary threat due to the number of illegals and aliens smuggled into the states and even constituted as a national emergency. Following the order, the two U.S. neighbors were originally hit with 25% tariffs on all imports into the U.S., although they did not come into effect until 4 March. While China's initial 10% tariff was doubled, the Republican administration, due to China's retaliation with its own high tariffs. Truth Social on Trump's Truth Social post continued, if they continue the long-time tariffs are not likewise dropped by Canada, I will substantially increase again on April 2nd, the tariffs on cars coming into the U.S., which will essentially permanently shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada. He went on to claim that Canadian cars can easily be made in the USA and that Canada pays very little for national security, relying on the U.S. for military protection. The 47th president went on to push his administration plans of incorporating Canada into our cherished 51st state, a big, bold, beautiful state. This would make all the tariffs and everything totally disappear. All right, so this is really escalating because right now they're signing paperwork at DHS that the Trump administration is going to require Canadian citizens staying or having stayed within the United States longer than 30 days to register with the government. Okay, so now we're posturing. This is tensing up a little bit. Measures not necessary at the moment, but the Secretary of Homeland Kristi Noem said they can unilaterally change the rule the outlet ordered. The measure, expected to go into first April 11th, comes shortly after President Donald Trump escalated his trade war with our northern neighbor, further saying he doubled tariffs on steel and aluminum. We said that. So, and the decision from hello, Harley, welcome. And yes, Cheyenne, they don't have a choice. And that's what my next point. Hello, Harley, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Said that this April 11th, we're going to start registering Canadian citizens. We're posturing now. So this is going on to talk about everything we just talked about. But the main thing, the crux of this, is that we're going to start requiring Canadians register in the United States. Next will become Canada doing the same thing. And then after that, our diplomats will leave each other's countries. And with the national emergency, Presidential Powers Act, he could essentially go take over those power plants that operate and send electricity into the U.S. That would be a military operation. So we're beginning to posture a little bit here. I'm not saying we're going that far. I'm hoping this only lasts a day or three, but the posturing is starting, and these politicians are serious about it. So we've got a hardliner in Canada, and we have a hardliner in the United States. I do agree we don't need to be reliant upon another country for anything, much less our electricity to the States. So whatever measures a president has to take to secure the safety and security of American citizens, he can and will do. So just heads up, we're not on the street yet, but we're on the alley looking at it. I don't normally Harley, but this is the headline of the day. It's the one going abuzz everywhere because, well, we're tired of being screwed with as Americans, and so it's going to be on a roll here soon. So, like I said, I don't know that we're on that path yet, but if we're requiring starting in April for the citizens to register, we may not be on that street, but we're on the alley about to turn down that street. So everybody keep your heads on a swivel, buy any stocks. This show is designed to say how we lived to survive another day, unlike all the other podcasts that are saying that we're all going to die tomorrow. But yeah, this is going to get intense, and I don't see either of them letting up. So, all right, well, we'll get back into our normal waters with the FEMA daily operations briefing for Tuesday, 11 March, 2025. Yeah, we're definitely not in a great neighborhood at the moment. So, but, you know, as one person in politics said, Canada doesn't really have, Greenland doesn't really have a military. You know, essentially we could release the woolly mammoth mouse and let it take over, and then we just come in behind it and clean up. We kind of bolster the Canadian forces. So, it could be so ugly. Let's hope it doesn't get ugly, but we got to do what we got to do to protect American citizens and national security. All right, so we're going back to the daily operations briefing from FEMA. This is the same briefing that the president receives, except we don't get the secret squirrel shit that they do. And I wish we did, because it would be so much funner. So the national current operations, new and significant in ongoing operations. They say there are none. They are monitoring heavy rainfall in California, heavy snow in Sierra Nevada, and of course, critical fire weather, which will be spreading with low humidity across the South later this week. And they have declared 3 amendments for disaster. Yes, I want the secret squirrel shit too. Well, I imagine somewhere on this document down here in this category would be the words Canada power grid. just me thinking out loud. I imagine that's on the real one. All right, so for our national weather forecast, as we talked about, lots of rain on the West Coast, which is good for them in one way, bad in another, but they do need the rain. And up in the higher elevations, In the Cascades, Sierra Nevadas, there will be snow. It appears that'll be pretty much good snow there. Yes, and we would like the Epstein list and the Diddy list, please. So there's a high in the center of the country coming down from Canada that's pushing a low down into the east, and that's going to draw that weather straight in and down to us. And those winds and storms we experienced last week, well, it's going to happen again this week, and it's going to be a tad bit chillier. So and expect the storms and winds to be significantly higher. Wednesday, the snowfall is going to extend further into Idaho and Wyoming, and then the rain and severe weather is going to extend through Texas, starting to creep along the south in the Mississippi, Alabama tornado corridor. Wendell, if you're out in the woods Wednesday, be weather aware. Have a weather radio with you at all times. And then Thursday, the snow is going to continue to creep across the country, pretty much be from Texas all the way up to Nebraska, almost into Montana, while that low is pushing down, and it's going to pull that nice, warm Gulf moisture up and over the south on Thursday, and that's going to be triggering the severe weather in Alabama, Georgia, Florida, maybe into the Carolinas, and potentially as far as up into Tennessee. So be weather aware this week. By the end of the week, there could be some severe weather in the country. Right now, the weather is being basically heavy rain and snow out on the west, with the higher elevations getting the most significant amount and the rain continuing to flood. Yeah, we don't really want the storms anymore. I had enough of them last week, so but it looks as though on Tuesday, it'll be higher. The high is going to be pushing across with the low. Hasn't quite tapped that weather yet, so the humidity will drop. So it's going to cause fire weather also just in front of the storm that'll sweep across the south. So the fire warnings are already high in the Midwest and the Great Plains, and that will extend eastward and even to the south where, well, guess what? Yeah, it's fire season. Has anyone ever noticed how with the rainfalls, it'll flood in the Californias, then the following year it'll flood like in the middle of the country, then the south gets the floods in the northeast, and we get a little break, and it's all circular. It all comes back around. So yeah. Yes, we don't want the fire weather either, unfortunately, but it's going to be something we're going to have to deal with. Hopefully there won't be anybody burning or making s'mores, which is what they're reporting. And I'm with Denise. I don't know that I buy the story, but supposedly, I'll pull the story up if we've got a few extra minutes today. Supposedly, a lady was making s'mores, and that's what started the fire on Long Island. I don't know if I buy it, but hey, a woman also set the fire in Carolinas as well. So she was just burning her yard waste. All right. So as we were talking about the snowfall forecast, I don't want to get made too much fun of by that sports show. So we'll continue on with the snowfall forecast. Is higher in the greater elevations, Cascade Mountains, the Mount Rainiers, extending over into Boise, all the higher elevations in the Sierra Nevada and those mountains. Can expect some significant snow, maybe even a little thunder snow. I love that name, those words, thunder snow. All right, so the extreme weather today for fire conditions is down in New Mexico. Is that New Mexico? Yeah, in Texas, extending up to Arizona. And tomorrow it's basically going to stay in that same spot and grow larger because of the drier humidity. So I didn't say that right, didn't I? Yeah, no. Yeah, New Mexico, Texas. Yeah, New Mexico and Texas is where the fire weather alert is. Today is critical. Tomorrow is basically going to be that same area, just increasing throughout the whole state. Hazards outlook. That's a lot of little squigglies. And I don't understand all the little squigglies, but basically it says the same thing. It just draws a circle instead of having nice colors. Oh yeah, by the way, no hazards in Alaska. I didn't look for Hawaii. We always leave them off of the map. And they're one of our states. Would we leave Canada off the map? I don't know. Asking for a friend. Or would we just draw them down and in? So, Listen, well, we have them on this map. We have all of them: Hawaii, the American Samoas, Guam, Commonwealth of Northern Maria Islands, in Alaska. So, all right. So FEMA is monitoring those conditions. There are currently still 12 rehousing districts, which are located in Tennessee, West Virginia, Kentucky, and the Carolinas. And they're working with 28 groups to non-supported emergency things. And those are usually projects like the Red Cross or people bringing in housing supplies, like building supplies, stuff like that. Cheyenne says that would be some shit to happen here. Yep. Yeah, well, y'all don't make s'mores in West Virginia. Y'all put moon pies on a stick or something, don't you? So, so that's what they're monitoring. There's currently no ongoing emergency operations, and they're staffed and ready to go. And we don't see anything new for the damage assessments that they've done previously, and nothing new for declarations. But they did amend the Kentucky one to add 9 counties. What did they add? 13 counties for Kentucky for public assistance and direct federal assistance. And in West Virginia, they added 2 counties for individual assistance. And this is the public grant. Cheyenne says, we just make moonshine and meth. Okay. There's a country and western song there somewhere, moonshine and meth. Public assistance grant activity that breaks it down by region. And so far, I still don't understand this. We're 5 years post-COVID, and the public assistance grants in certain regions are 5 million, 1 million. I don't understand that. We're 5 years away from this. I don't get that. So, all right. And this is just further breaking it down. They didn't have a lot to report today, so they put stats and stuff in there that are just basically expressing the same things. So that is your FEMA daily outlook. You can get this every day. It's a public document from FEMA, and they publish it every day, supposedly Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., although that's not true. Doesn't come out at 8:30. Sometimes it comes on right before I come on live here at the show, which is at 1 o'clock, 1300 Eastern in the United States. Corruption is slow to stop once the ball starts rolling. You are so correct. So correct. All right, so President Trump's schedule, we know he is up and about. Currently, he has just completed lunch with the vice president. And there's a press briefing going on in the James Brady press briefing room. And the president will depart the White House en route to the Business Roundtable office on the South Portico. And once he arrives there, I guess he's going to have some remarks at the roundtable for the quarterly meeting with people. He's meeting with the CEOs and presidents of large corporations that are currently in the United States. I think after that, he will hold some press briefing comments or some press conference. He's going to answer questions to the media and probably smack down NBC and the Washington Post again. And then from there at 6 o'clock, he returns back to the White House, where I'm sure he'll go and get updated on the daily news. Now, do not have an update on the oil tanker from yesterday. They are still looking at it as it could potentially be something other than a mere accident. It's being investigated according to the SecDef. So, all right. We're going to do this a little bit different today so we don't waste a lot of everybody's time. Let's just drag this down. And in Sandwich, Massachusetts, at 10 Carlton Drive, they have a 2-alarm fire for extensive brush, and they're requesting rehab to the scene. That means you're going to be there for a little while. So that's up here, I believe. Nope, that's not it. That's New Hampshire, dummy. Good Lord. Mass. No, that's Maine. We got to go down here. So where's the brush fire? That's South Boston. All right, well, we'll just do it this way. Middleburgers, Mass. They have fire in a two-story dwelling in Peabody, Massachusetts, on Aborn Street. They have updated it to a second alarm for a two-story wood frame fire, and that was from earlier when calls come in a three-story residential over commercial, extending to three and a half stories. So, and there's the earlier Peabody. And Coventry, Rhode Island, a garage fire extended to the dwellings, and they've requested mutual aid to the scene to come with tankers to bring more water. In Covington, Rhode Island, on Town Farm Road, they had a garage fire that extended into the dwelling. Didn't I just say that? I did just say that. Good Lord. Let's see. Green Island, New York, they had a motor vehicle with entrapment at Tidmouth Avenue in New York, Route 787. Confirmed PIN. The jaws are going to work, and they put the helicopter in the air. Greenwich, Connecticut, today, they had a train incident where a person was struck by a train. Unfortunately, the person did not survive. Charlotte, North Carolina, they had a smoke showing from a two-story house and requested more help. Farmington, New Hampshire, Chestnut Hill Road, command is transmitted a second alarm for a fire in a single-wide mobile home. Okay, that's unusual. Must be persons trapped or they just need more water. Let's see. Farmington, New Hampshire, we just talked about. Columbia, Connecticut. They're on scene of a 1.5-story wood frame dwelling, and it's got heavy smoking fire showing. Worcester, Mass. They have a second alarm working for a three-story wood frame dwelling. In Cheltenshire Township, Pennsylvania, they have a working fire in an unknown type structure at the intersection of Valley Road and Oak Lane Road. And they had the patient extracted and flown out. That's good news. Covington, Kentucky, they transmitted a second alarm for additional firefighters to come help on a two-story apartment building. It was fully involved. Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania had a two-alarm fire in a split-level private dwelling. Here in Georgia, I doubt it's on here. Is it on here? Let's see. Did it make the news? Let's see. No, working fire on Main Street. And this was not far from me. Mountain Industrial Boulevard fire and a laser printing machine that extended into a commercial dwelling. My old fire department down in Union City, Georgia, way down here, had and it's not on the map either, in Union City, they had a two-alarm fire this morning. It was an apartment complex that was right around the corner from the fire station. They had to call for extra alarms because of the air conditioning units on top of the apartment building were collapsing into the building. Poor building code. All right, we're going to go to the current weather map. I always use the GEMA one. It's publicly available, and you can pull it up. GEMA stands for Georgia Emergency Management Agency, and their site is usually pretty good in giving us the most recent radar and where all the different earthquakes, alerts, and weather things are. So we see right now there's no rain in Georgia. It's all off the coast, but it's coming in on the west coast. So, and the only new earthquake I can report to you, Wendell, since I know you like to know about the earth shaking, I believe was in Peru. So it wasn't in America. That I can tell you. Let's go down to our friends down under and look at their radar in Australia. Australia is still feeling the effects of the cyclone, Alfred, and they are dealing with residual flooding, but there are still some rain squalls and showers that are moving across the continent, especially on the Gold Coast Island, or Gold Coast area of the island, where they're most concerned with flooding. Some people are still trapped in, I don't think the number is as high as it was, but there was probably around 100,000, I think it was 250,000 yesterday, without power. They're working to restore it, and there's people still in their homes, and they've got schools and businesses closed down. So that will probably be for the next few days until it dries up there. Other than the squalls and stuff like that, I don't see anything significant coming at Australia, nor have I heard of anything other than the normal rains. So Australia, Keep your head up. You're almost done. And that reminds me, I would like to thank my friends and family and foes at Radio X. Radio X, we are there for 2 hours. We follow Ross from Yerg's Radio. We're also on yergsradio.com and Rainbow Radio, and we'd like to thank them as well for all they do for our show. Our fan favorite, which this is Chris's and probably Cheyenne's favorite thing that I do daily, the Earth Wind Map. And you can just sit back after thinking of all the things that are going to happen and look at this, just kind of chill and relax a little bit. So we see here that as we discussed in the national weather forecast, the one front has moved off of the East Coast. The rain is pushing along the Pacific up the East Coast. I'm sorry, up the West Coast, and going to be calling us in that rain. And that trough is coming down from the Antarctic regions, passing right over a little high off the coast of Alaska and feeding directly into the British Columbia, Seattle rain. It rains every day in Seattle. Yes, this is very relaxing, very relaxing. I'm gonna figure out a way. I could probably do it on Amazon, the Fire Stick, and just put this on the big screen in the bedroom at night. So well, it's not a big screen. I mean, it's a bigger TV than I had in my bedroom when I was a kid, but otherwise, mostly across the country, it's not that windy. However, look for that to change within the next 48 hours as that front starts to come ashore more aggressively and the Canadians push that cold front down on us with no electricity. Look for the winds to pick up across the Midwest tomorrow. Further south, and by the weekend, heavy rain and thunderstorms in the southeast with tornadic activity. Yes, her appreciation for this map has made our friendship stronger. Yes, Cheyenne is definitely thumbs up on this map. Anyone on Radio X, Yerg's Radio, Pine Island FM radio, if you're seeing this and you don't understand what we're talking about, you need to come over to find us on the YouTube channel, the Para Are Normal Guys. 3 words, guys with a Z. You need to subscribe, like, follow, and share. And you can join us daily from 1300 to 1500 and watch this beautiful blue globe of AI wind. It's great. It's relaxing. The only thing that would make this better is like some fish bubble like sounds or water sounds behind it, or maybe a wind sound. I don't know. I had a bad experience in the wind with camping once. I don't know that I'd like that. So we'll look down under and see how their winds are. One thing I am learning is I have to talk slower. It doesn't look as though conditions in Canada are very windy at the moment. It looks like it's just the normal wind flowing. For them, their wind usually flows from the east to the west. So it looks as though it's the normal flow of wind. And we can just twirl around and admire the wind in different continents, different parts of the world. There it is on the east coast of Russia, down in Asia. It's a little front, probably going to be another dust storm bringing us some dirty rain here soon out over Russia and the Middle Eastern states. And then when you get up into Europe, not a whole lot of activity up there. We'll go up here and check on our other northerly neighbor that we're going to invade in Greenland. It looks like they're having a little icy day, a little windy day. That trough's coming right down below the island south of it and just whipping right over the island. So, yeah, I'm telling you, the woolly mammoth mouse, we could take it. Not a problem. So I need to put up a poll. Do you think by the end of Trump's term, we will have a 51st state? I mean, he did add a new military to us during his first term. During his second term, would that be his gold standard, a new state? I don't know. All right, let's see if I can update this. This is the U.S. wind map. It is updated at 11:33, so it's not too fresh, but it's showing pretty much that the highest winds currently are in the 40s, and that's pretty much in the Denver area going northward. Maybe some down around you, Chris, Chicago coming down off the Great Lakes, and Harley coming back up towards you over in the eastern Ohio Valley region. So those are the windiest areas of the country. And Texas always has wind. Every day we see wind there in Texas. Okay. This is our fire map. This is provided by NASA. Now remember, the little dots that we see here are from satellites looking down saying that these could be fires. These are not confirmed ones. Not all of them, at least, are confirmed as of yet. This looks to me to be a lot of, what's the word, scatter on the image because of the pattern. If you look how it's got two bands, I find that unusual. So it's either from the imaging or the lasers that were sweeping the country, starting the fires. I don't know. Take your choice. But you see in one swath, they extend from the Great Lakes down above Minneapolis, all the way down off the coast of San Antonio. And on the other one, it comes over here off of the, what is that? The Buffalo up around Toronto and sweeps down all the way into Florida. The confirmed fires are the ones in orange that they're definitely working on. And you can see there, like this one I just popped on, is 172,000 acres, and it is 0% contained. And that is in Mississippi. And Wendell, it looks like the fire down around you was extinguished. And see, these are just the latitude and longitudes of fires that they suspect, but they haven't confirmed yet. It's a whole lot of them down that little swipe, isn't it? That's an interesting pattern. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm almost tempted to screen snap this and send this to Brenda. If you don't know who Brenda is, she's one of our fan favorites on the show, and she's been on the show many times. If you want to know about a conspiracy, just ask Brenda. She'll tell you about it. But I got to say, that is an interesting pattern that I have not seen. We've been doing this show now for 2 weeks and looking at this map, and we've not seen this. So it's either something on the image or they got the lasers up. But why aren't they pointing the lasers up here? Not that I would encourage that activity. So the fire critical areas are in Texas, New Mexico, over extending into Missouri, down along the lower border there in the Ozark Plateau. And then tomorrow they will sweep pretty much across the south, down along the southeastern region where the lasers are aimed. So interesting. I've really kind of, that blows me away. Every now and then you see a radar image where you can see the actual radar. You know, there's so much rain or fog or snow or whatever. I'm just wondering, this has to be particulates on the image. This has to be faulty data. It just doesn't look that bad. So, but there's nothing confirmed. This one, I mean, some of these could be building fires, but it would be quite a large building fire in Knoxville. That's a pretty large area of northwest Knoxville, so I doubt that one is. Yeah, I don't know what these are, but they're suspected fires that they will investigate. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's a lot of little red dots for people to investigate to keep jobs. Maybe. I don't know. I'm floundering at the moment. All right, so this is also a fire map. This one just shows us the smoke more than you see where the fires are, like we were discussing earlier. But this one I wanted to bring up because of the smoke map. The smoke is now going to be extending up and towards the Great Lakes, the Ohio eastern region, extending probably into the northeast by the end of the week. But all that dirty rain will be in those areas of the country later this week. So pay attention to that. That is, the brown areas is where the smoke is drifting and wafting to. Chris, you're having a bad smoke day. And as we pull up the interactive map of air quality from air.gov, also free, you can go there and check it out yourself. It's no big deal. You can see that pretty much from Chicago, the Great Lakes region, down throughout almost to the Gulf of Mexico, the air quality is moderate. And that is a lot of where the smoke was that I just showed you. And of course, over on the East Coast or West Coast, it's in the traditional areas, LA, San Diego, Reno, up towards the Cascades a little bit, Seattle, and there. But Cheyenne and Chris, you're having a moderate to severe air quality day. Extends all the way over to Washington, D.C., skirts the coast all the way up to Boston into New Brunswick. So in the worst area, the winner for today is down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That is where the worst air quality is today. They are the winner. Ding, ding, chicken dinner. Okay. Rather than pull up that map and look at everything, I decided let's shorten this a little bit and let's just look at the events list. This will give us a little bit quicker update, and we can go zoom in if we want to specifically look at one. But we'll start off with a biological origin attack. And in Australia, we talked about that yesterday. It was the suspected shark attack on a remote Washington beach where the surfer is still missing. They do not have on here an alligator attack from yesterday down in Lee County or Polk County, Florida. It grabbed the lady, drug her into the water. She was able to escape, but it ripped her life jacket off and had it stuck in its mouth. And all the first aid supplies were on the boat, and everybody jumped out of the boat and went ashore, dragging the lady ashore, so they couldn't get anything. And they were tourists. They didn't know where they were, which made conditions even worse. So it took a while to get her help. She did survive. I don't know the extent of her injuries because they didn't release any pertinent information, but that was on there. All right. So we have a human epidemic in Nigeria, an outbreak of meningitis, and that was recent. Pakistan had the first Nigerian death of what? Karachi? I don't know what that means. Okay, we'll just skip that one. Poor life jacket saved lives. Well, if it ripped her off of her and got it stuck in its teeth like gum, it probably did save her life. Social incident. There should be okay, no, that's under other things. Social incidents yesterday, and we'll talk about this when we get into a little more news stuff. But Elon Musk, that X was hit by a cyber attack. And we've also learned that Rumble was the site of a major cyber attack yesterday. If you notice, the internet is smoothing. I better shut up. It's much better than it had been. If you remember yesterday, I was ready to pick the screen up and throw it out the window. And local security conflicts. This one has been resolved. They've taken out the snipers, have taken out the bad guys, but militants had captured 450 people on a train in Pakistan. They'd set off IEDs and derailed the train, and they captured them and sent a letter with their demands. And their demands were met with hot lead, as they always should be. Most recent events, we talked about one shooting dead in a Hollywood, Florida apartment complex yesterday. And that's the only new thing for there. And they don't talk about the demonstrations. If you get a chance, how do I want to say this politically correctly? If you want to go see a protest in France against the United States, the French citizens joined together, male and female. They did separate each other, and they painted each other and put tattoos on each other with body art and protested and chanted and danced in the street topless. Go check that one out. You'll thank me later. Let's see. The only known thing in terrorism is in Somalia. 6 were killed in a militant attack on a hotel in Somalia. That is one country that we have a what do you call it, warning when you go to, if you go to travel outside the United States, contact the State Department, or you can even go online and do it, but it's better to contact them and get the information on the area you're going to, including if you need any type of injections to go to that country. So Chris says, I protest, or Cheyenne says, I protest like that daily. Well, Cheyenne, I still have not received those pictures you promised, so I'll wait on them. And we go to this. We covered the war. Israel, Palestine are still fighting, and Ukraine and Russia, well, they're still doing their thing. I think we're just going to join down below that with U.S., Canada. Let's see. Surrounding explosions. Nigeria, police have confirmed 1 dead in a Kano inferno. Don't know what that means. We'd have to search that one out. I have a link where I can get site sources. Oh, I can push a button. All right, well, this will tell us. The Kano State Police Command on Monday confirmed that 1 person is dead following a fire outbreak recorded in Garandus quarters of the state. The spokesperson of the command, SP Abdullah Harana, confirmed in the development, said the incident, which occurred as a result of a gas cylinder explosion, has left 21 injured victims at the SP Hana. SP Hana said that the victims had serious burns and were rushed to the Gamanji Hospital, the Daha Orthopedic Hospital, and Marata Mohammed Specialist Hospital in Kano, where they are currently receiving treatment. According to him, at approximately 02:30 local time, a tragic fire incident occurred at a residence of Malam Yaski Rabu in Grand Duts quarters, Kano. The fire caused by the gas cylinder explosion in the kitchen area resulted in the death of 1 Ibrahim Sani, a 14-year-old male, and seriously affecting 21 other victims. The police team, led by Area Commander Dala Area Command ACP Nuha Mohammed Daji, promptly responded to the incident. Victims with serious burn injuries were rushed to Gamanji Hospital, and Lite saw the others. While they are currently receiving treatments, the fire was successfully extinguished through the combined efforts of firefighters and policemen. The area is now calm. And so the swift response of the police and the fire services and the cooperation of the public helped the situation and is calming the family with the deceased, and they wish everybody a speedy recovery. Cheyenne, remind me to tell you I have experience in that part of the world. So let's see. Talking about fires, Brazil, a fire at a homeless shelter killed 4, and India, 3 children among 5 burned to death after a fire outbreak at a cracker shop in Jaharland. All right. Outdoor, New York State governors declared emergency for the Long Island fires, where they were the s'mores. And Wendell, I'm sorry, it was Brazil that had the earthquake, a 5.0 and a 5.6. Peru had a 5.0. In Banda Sea, they had a 4.0. China had a 4.0. And the Caribbean Sea had a 5.0. The Azores Mountains in Europe, they had a 5.0. The Caribbean Sea had an additional one. There's a lot of shaking going on today at 5.4. And another one earlier at 5.0. And the Azores in Europe were struck with one early today at a 5.3. So there's a lot of rocking and rolling going on. The list continues. The North Atlantic Ocean, 5.0. This is all today. Russian Federation, 4.0. China, 4.0. Philippines, 4.0. Iran had several at 4.0. Mexico had one at 4.0. Bolivia had a 4.1. Chile had a 4.0. Kazakhstan, which is in Asia, technically it's the Middle East, had a 4.0. Indonesia landslide killed 7 at an illegal gold mine in Malacca. All right, well, in the United States, Kilauea volcano is active again, and it has spurred concerns by the authorities. Well, we'll just pull the article up, of a larger event. Activity summary, episode 13, the ongoing Halma eruption began at 2:36 Hawaiian Standard Time on 10 March. Fountains reached height of 400 to 500 feet. By a 3:30 a.m. episode was preceded by a small sporadic sputter of fountains 15 to 30 feet high. You can see there on the mountain. That is one thing I would like to see. Geologically, the volcano erupts and it flows down the mountain, obviously, and it makes it to the sea and makes some of the most beautiful rocks and crystals you've ever seen. All right, nothing else in flooding. I mean, Argentina, Mozambique, Colombia, Madagascar, Ecuador, of course, Australia and Peru have all had flooding problems over the past few days. Australia is still suffering from high storm surges from ex-cyclone Alfred. So there are 5 different updates there. So check your local news. Let's see. India, 1 killed, 5 critical as a multi-story factory building collapsed. And, North Korea, they were firing several ballistic missiles. And we are in a, how do we call that? A military training exercise off of the coast of North Korea in combined efforts with South Korea, not provoking them at all, in training incidents. Let's see, 5 injured in a plane crash in Pennsylvania. The day before that, there was 1 killed in a plane crash in Pennsylvania. This is not showing the 3 killed from the EMS helicopter that fell out of the sky in the Midwest. Public road incidents, 15 injured when a school bus on Gordon State Parkway in Jersey, and a bus crash in Mexico. Bad day to be on a bus. Left 18 dead and 20 injured. Germany, 12 people were injured in a collision between a school bus and a tram in Munich. Yeah, I saw the pictures from that. That was ugly. Let's see. In the Congo, a boat is capsized and 25 are dead. Many of them soccer players. Chris, do you have an update on that? And let's see. United Kingdom Port Chief says 32 casualties were brought ashore after the ships collided and caught fire in the North Sea. We'll have an update on that. I don't believe there were any fatalities. If so, there may have been one, but I don't. We'll follow up with that. I think that they had 1 missing crewman that they had pronounced, and then they found alive at sea. I think that's how the story went. So we have 2 cyclones. Nope. Relax, Australia. They are going to be in the Indian Ocean, affecting Asia, and the Mozambique. That's Ivan and Jude. Of course, we still have the drought in South Africa and Iran. It's always a drought there. So, and of course, Syria does as well. Extreme rainfall. Well, we know about Australia, but it's affected India, Ecuador, Bolivia as well. So, and parts of Canada have had extreme rains. Also, Ethiopia, Algeria, Sri Lanka. I don't know. That's in Africa too. Lesotho. It's not French. Lightning incidents, mainly in Sri Lanka, in Iran. Iran has, the Middle East has some awesome storms, but they're dust storms. So picture a rainstorm that's dust with lightning. It's pretty wicked. India's had some lightning issues. Kenya, it's always lightning issues in the South Africa. Thick fog. We had thick fog this morning here in the South. Let's see. It's nothing. Let's see. Colombia and China, Kazakhstan, we're all experiencing high storm or high fog areas today. And Finland is experiencing heavy snowfall and freezing temperatures. It's going to continue and return across Finland. Heavy storms in Romania, Uzbekistan, and Jangamogo in Antarctica. Interesting. There's got to be snows up there. And of course, in the Russian Federation, and in Antarctica, it's all got to be snows. Probably snow in China. Definitely snow in Greenland. And Red Bluff Mountain. Yeah. We saw that earlier. So All right, so that's pretty much the events occurring around the world. Trying to think if I left any off what I saw during the headlines. I'm pretty sure that was it. Sometimes this is slow to update. We see, let's bring this up to date. This may not be current. We're looking at the power outage for the U.S., and it is showing that California is right now having greater than 100,000 out. It looks like it's isolated down into Kern County and Yolo County, maybe in Tehama and Trinity as well. But looks like it's isolated to those areas, and I'm assuming that's due to the heavy rain, probably landslides. Landslides, heavy rains, trees, that type of thing. All right, so we'll skip ahead a little bit and get to some Health and Human Services news. The Secretary, Kennedy, JFK Jr., directed the FDA to explore rulemaking to eliminate pathway for companies to self-affirm food ingredients are safe. In other words, he's asking them to govern themselves and make sure the food is safe. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the U.S. FDA, the Federal Food and Drug Administration, are committed to promoting radical transparency to make sure all Americans know what is in their food. Cockroaches, mice, whatever. Today, as part of this commitment, Health and Human Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is directing the acting FDA commissioner to take steps to explore potential rulemaking to revise the substances generally recognized as, quote, safe, GRAS, is what the acronym in the government is, final rule and related guidance to eliminated the self-affirmed GRAS pathway. In other words, they're asking them to take the bad stuff out. This will enhance the FDA's oversight of the ingredients considered to be GRAS. It's an acronym. I'd have to look it up, but it's probably something about bad stuff, and give transparency to the American consumers. For far too long, ingredient manufacturers and sponsors have exploited a loophole that has allowed new ingredients and chemicals, often with unknown safety data, to be introduced into the U.S. food supply without notification to the FDA or the public, according to the Secretary. Eliminating this loophole will provide transparency to consumers, help get our nation's food supply back on track, ensuring the ingredients being introduced into the foods are safe, and ultimately make America health again. No, Chris said he didn't know that. I'm not sure what you were talking about, Chris. Sorry, I was reading. And he said, this is why I watch that show. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Chris. Everybody needs to hit that thumbs up button, hit that notification bell. If you want to buy me a Mountain Dew, I'm only operating on one today, which is rare. Usually it's a minimum of two. But RFK Jr. is just demanding that they're going to take away Mountain Dew. I know they are. But he's asking them to start with self-regulation, which I'm going to assume with this transparency will eventually... Oh, Chris was saying about the soccer players. Okay. Well, Chris, if you have a further update, since you're my soccer aficionado, you could tell me about it. But this will make the food manufacturers say not only is it yellow dye number 5 or blue dye number 4, whatever, they're going to have to say, well, that blue dye makes your kidney pea green or whatever. So it's going to make them start self-governing for more transparency on American foods. If they can't justify its use, well, then it's got to go. So my Mountain Dews may no longer be yellow. They might be clear. Hopefully they'll taste the same, but we'll see. We'll see. They're probably going to totally outlaw my Blue Dew. A friend of the show tells me that the Blue Dew is got little boy penis in it. I don't believe her, but whatever. I love the Blue Dew. Got to have 2 a day, at minimum. All right, this is an exclusive from the Daily Wire. The Alliance Defending Freedom demands answers on Biden administration censorship. The Alliance Defending Freedom is demanding answers from the federal government about the Biden administration's weaponization of government against conservatives as part of its push to combat alleged, that's the key word there, domestic extremism. On Monday, the ADF filed the Freedom of Information Act, a FOIA, with the Treasury Department, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security about their work to combat so-called extremism under President Joe Biden's. The ADF believes that the information gleaned from the request will shed greater light on how the Biden administration ordered banks to spy on the financial records of conservative Americans. We've sent these requests based on the belief that the big banks and big tech are just as threatening to freedom as Big Brother. Couldn't agree more. Alliance Defending Freedom legal counsel Mercer Martin told the Daily Wire, "We have been going through the mounting evidence that the government through these organizations was enlisting big business and banks and its censorship schemes. The FOIA request focuses largely on two aspects of the government actions under Biden. They want to know more about the Treasury Department's financial crimes enforcement network, flagged conservative coded transactions for potential investigation. Secondly, the ADF wants to know the nature of the government's work with private organizations to identify domestic extremism and other so-called misinformation." Overall, Martin said that this was to identify how the Biden administration worked to outsource censorship to private organizations and businesses. The FOIA is filed with the Treasury Department to seek information on their censorship with private organizations, purportedly to combat domestic violent extremism and the government's warrantless surveillance on Americans' private financial information. It was previously revealed that the top officials from the financial centers ordered banks to comb through customer data if terms like Trump or MAGA were used in transactions. Sounds a lot like Operation it starts with an E. It's where they scan every government, everything that goes out, and they look for keywords. They look for Trump and MAGA. They were to provide information to customers that had purchased religious texts or subscriptions to extremist media outlets. Religious text, aren't we? Don't we have freedom of religion? ADS requests would require the Treasury Department to provide documents and communications with keywords like Christian, Catholic, radical tradition, Southern Poverty Law Center, Capitol riot in January 6th, probably J6 as well. The FOIA has also asked for communication between the Treasury Department and the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, an organization that labeled the ADF a hate group in a report that was linked to the Financial Center. ADS FOIAs of the FBI seek information on any documents related to the Southern Poverty Law Center. God, that'll be a lot of paperwork. The far-left organization the Bureau cited in a memo warning about the radical traditional Catholic ideology. The reason we're interested in their... I thought that we had freedom of religion. The reason we're interested in the work with the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Institute for Strategic Dialogue is that the government was using these organizations, so-called hate groups or targeted groups. They were using tools listed to encourage banks and financial organizations to target their customers based on those lists. The FOIA also requested information on the FBI's work with the Domestic Security Alliance Council to collect Americans' personal financial information from private financial institutions and encourage private financial institutions to monitor Americans' financial activity. I want to know what I'm shopping for on Amazon and Temu. The Domestic Security Alliance is a public-private partnership that purportedly exists to promote the timely and effective exchange of security and intelligence information between the Fed and the private sector. In the third FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request to the FBI, ADF requests that the Bureau provide any communications with the keywords like disinformation, election integrity, election interference, hate speech, lab leak, and big tech companies like Google, Instagram, Facebook, among others. On similar lines, the request the DHS asked for its work to combat alleged extremism with private organizations and the flag of Americans' banking transactions. So the goal of the request was to hold accountability to the government to determine whether individuals' constitutional rights had been violated. If we find that the Biden administration was violating individuals' constitutional rights, we are interested in taking actions to vindicate those rights as well, he said. Remember just the other day, the mainstream media has not yet reported it, that only one document, this is according to the Fed, only one document was signed in person by the hand of Joe Biden. Everything else was auto pen. Think about that. And by the way, anyone can request a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. If you want to have some good times and fun, ask the FBI, CIA, for a FOIA on you, anything that has your name and personal data on it. That's a good time. That will get you on a list too, but it's good information. All right, so now we're going to talk about U.S. flag shipped contracted by the U.S. military was hit in the North Sea. They have not ruled out foul play. This was as of going to air after the U.S. flagged MV Stena Immaculate was struck by a Portuguese flagged container ship on Monday. It was at anchor off the coast of the UK. The company that manages the ship, Crowley, said in the statement that the accident happened at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, while the Stena Immaculate was anchored in the North Sea. The Stena Immaculate sustained a ruptured cargo tank containing Jet A1 fuel due to the Allison, the company said. A fire occurred as a result of the Allison, and the fuel was reported to be released. The crew abandoned ship after multiple explosions were reported. Currently, everyone aboard the ship has been accounted for. He immediately initiated its emergency vessel response plan and is actively working with public agencies to contain the fire. Remember, I said that's lighter than water, so it's going to be on top of the water. If there is a good thing about it, it's on top of the water. It will be burning. And they're going to use foam to put it out. Just my opinion. I know this is a huge environmental disaster, but the best thing might be to let it burn off. So fire kills everything. Crowley said our first priority is the safety of the people and the environment. We will provide more updates as they become available. So that's going to be burning probably for several days, and it's going to be a huge mess. It will be an environmental mess because obviously you're going to have it leaking small amounts that can't burn. Well, they could burn, but once you'll eventually have to get the fire extinguished. So there will be some problems with it, but it's going to be an environmental mess. All right, so now we're finding out that Zelensky sent Trump a letter apologizing for the Oval Office blow-off, according to the special envoy Witkoff. The United States Special Envoy Steve Witkoff said Monday that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky sent a letter to President Donald Trump apologizing for his behavior in the Oval Office. Zelensky sent the letter to the president, and he apologized for the whole incident of what occurred in the Oval Office. I think that it's an important step, he added. There's been a lot of discussion between our teams and the Ukrainians and the Europeans who are hell-bent on war, which are relevant to the discussion as well. His comments build off Trump's revelation during his joint address to Congress last week that Zelensky had sent him a letter following the contentious Oval Office scene, but Trump has not revealed that Zelensky had apologized to him at that time. So the United States envoy is in the Middle East meeting to try and negotiate peace currently. And European leaders are strongly opposing it. So European leaders are trying to get more nukes, trying to get more soldiers, and trying to get boots on the ground before we can get peace. So we are working at this time diligently to get peace between the two nations, just as we're trying to get peace between Israel and Hamas. I doubt that'll ever happen. X has been rocked by the major cyber outage, a cyber attack. And billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk responded on social media that outage tracking website Down Detector tracked outages beginning just before 5 a.m. Eastern and lasting until past noon. At 5 a.m. Eastern, the total number outage reports were more than 20,000. Another spike occurred around 9 a.m. and reached nearly 40,000. A third prolonged spike in outage took place just over an hour later. We remember yesterday, we were trying to get data and it kept just spinning. So it peaked at 30,000 reports. And those are just the people that reported it to Down Detector and sustaining that number for nearly 2 hours. First protests against Doge, then Tesla stores were attacked. Now X is down. I wouldn't rule out the possibility that this downtime is the result of an attack, that the ex-Doge designer commented. Musk responded saying that he agreed and planned to investigate. There was still a massive cyber attack ongoing. We get attacked every day, but this was done with a lot of resources. Either a large coordinated group and or a country is involved. tracing he posted. According to the variety of reports and outages were not localized to the U.S., and it appears that users as far away as Europe had reported issues using the site. The initial report spiked around 5 a.m. at just over 10,000 in the UK. The issue extends to both mobile apps and the web browser version on the site, with just over half of all users reporting that the app was down and 1/3 reporting that the web browser was not working, which is what we were using yesterday. And so, yeah, they're investigating it, but they think it was a state-sponsored attack. All right. For those of you people that like TikTok, I don't understand it, but for those of you people that do, Trump says the U.S. is in talks with 4 groups over the sale of TikTok. A U.S. law which ordered TikTok to divest from Chinese ownership by ByteDance or be banned in the U.S. Sunday asks if there's a deal. Asks on Sunday if there was a deal. TikTok to reporters, he said it could be. We're dealing with 4 different groups, and a lot of people want it. And it's up to me, he said aboard Air Force One. All 4 are good, he added, without naming them. The law banning TikTok took effect 19 January over concerns that the Chinese government could not exploit the video sharing platform to spy on Americans to covertly influence the U.S. public opinion. TikTok temporarily shut down in the U.S. It's actually no longer on new. If you have Google and you update and buy a new phone, it's not on there. You have to manually go find it. Suspended the implementation for 2.5 months. In other words, he suspended the law, enforcing law, for 2.5 months, beginning in his second term, trying to seek a solution with Beijing. TikTok subsequently restored service in the U.S. and returned it to Apple and Google Play stores later in February. Potential TikTok buyers include the People's Bid for TikTok, launched by real estate and sports tycoon Frank McCourt, Project Liberty Initiative. Others in the running are Microsoft, Oracle, and a group that includes internet personality Mr. Beast, whose real name is Jimmy Donaldson. TikTok does not appear overly motivated regarding the sale of the app. Trump attempted to ban TikTok in the United States on national security concerns during his first term in the White House. All right, well, that's our first section of news. And we've got about 40 minutes later. I still have some stories for us. Cheyenne, your favorite section of the day. Sports. Yesterday, in men's college basketball, the winners were... yesterday. Had to click a button there. St. Mary's over Pepperdine. Robert Morris over Oakland. Wolford over Furman. And the NBA, have to remember it hit yesterday. The Hawks, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Celtics, the Mets, the Nuggets, the Bulls, the Grizzlies, the Rockets, the Mavericks, the Warriors, and the Knicks were all winners. And women's college basketball yesterday. I don't think, was there a lot yesterday? I don't remember. No. UConn, Arkansas State, Rice, Portland, and Green Bay were the winners yesterday in women's college basketball. And let's go over here to soccer for Chris. Yesterday, Newcastle beat West Ham. And that's the only thing in soccer. I thought I saw that that was in women's cricket. There's a championship being played today, I believe. Women's cricket. All right, continuing with NFL news. Quarterback Daniel Jones is finalizing a 1-year deal with the Colts, according to sources. Free agent and quarterback Daniel Jones, remember he quit the Giants last year, is getting a 1-year deal for $14 million with the Indianapolis Colts, according to Adam Schefter from ESPN. Jones had a chance to return to the Minnesota Vikings, but now becomes a challenger to the first-round draft pick Anthony Richardson for the Colts starting QB job in 2025. J.J. McCarthy is the only potential starting back under contract with the Vikings after Sam Darnold bailed and went to Seattle, and Nick Mullins went to Jacksonville, and they both got their contracts on Monday. And they said that Brett Ripken is under contract, but is not a candidate to start. Wonder why that is. Spent the final 2 months of the regular season with the Vikings practice squad after an unusual end to his time with the Giants. He basically just quit. He said, I'm done. And he left the Giants. And then he went to the practice squad and got another contract with the practice squad with the Vikings. It was the oddest thing, but he controlled his own destiny. He said he's quitting, and he took his money and left. And now he's getting another year to get, what was it, 14 million? Is that what it was? I mean, good on him. Take the money, I guess. But so yeah, he's going to compete for the starting position with the Indianapolis Colts. The Rams have finally reached an agreement with free agent quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. It's only a $4 million deal with Jimmy Garoppolo to serve again as a backup to starter Matt Stafford. Garoppolo was generating interest from other teams, according to Adam Schefter, and opted to return to LA. Stafford agreed to a restructured deal so that he could return. All right, well, good for him. Even though he's only getting $4 million, and the other guy who is maybe good got to get 14 for 1 year. Hey, it's $10 million. You can do a lot with that. We didn't mention it, but Catherine Lay had spun out twice. Yeah, $14 million. You're exactly right. $14 million, Chris, to carry a clipboard. If you ever get a chance, read the book on that the whistleblower wrote. He used a fake pen name and wrote a story wrote a book about inside the NFL. Oh, gives you some great insight. I wish they would do a second version of it since we're now in the post-concussion era. It would make for some great reading. So we're talking about NASCAR and the NASCAR Cup. A female racer came back, and she has spent 25 years working her way through professional motorsports before getting a shot at driving the NASCAR Cup Series. And her first go-round was a little bumpy. Rubbins Racing. She's the first woman to drive in 7 years. She spun out twice and didn't finish the race in her debut. Basically, it was baptism by fire. I think there's a lot of positives to take away from it. Obviously, there were mistakes made, but I learned so much. Hopefully, I'll get to come back. Well, she's raced everything from dirt bikes to Indy cars during her climb through the ranks, and she's going to try and find out if she gets to compete this weekend. And let's see, where are they this weekend? I have to look it up, but she will be trying to get into a car into the race. So she said that she was so loose that she was just hanging on, kept making adjustments to the car, and just wasn't stable. At the end, well, she spun out twice and wrecked, and that she wished that they had made the changes earlier because it was such a rough start. So hopefully she'll get a ride this Sunday. We'll see. And also, I read an article about motor car Barbie, and apparently she is a celebrity in the road and track world over in Europe, and she is starting Indianapolis e-racing. I think it's a great idea to do Indy racing. In fact, I believe in a couple weekends they're going to be road racing in Miami, and I wish it was televised. I would like to see that. So it's basically smaller Indy cars with electric engines. They don't get up to almost 200-300 miles an hour, though. So, in more NFL news, Brittany Mahomes shows off her freezer stuffed to the brim with breast milk, something she is very proud of. Couldn't we have just, never mind. Brittany and husband Patrick Mahomes welcomed their baby daughter Golden Ray in February, and on Monday, they shared a boomerang video on Instagram stories that showcased her freezer in the clip. She can be seen opening a cabinet which is stuffed to the brim with breast milk for the baby girl, who she welcomed in February. She's something very proud of. So, yeah, go check it out if you want to see Brittany Mahomes' freezer full of breast milk. Okay, NASCAR is in Las Vegas this weekend, and I think the Indy circuit is in Miami. It's either this weekend or next. So she should get a ride in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is oval, right? It's not a road race. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's oval. Let's see. Brittany shares her daughters Golden and Sterling Sky, who is 4, as well as son Patrick Bronze Levon III, which is 2, with her husband Patrick, who's only 29. Earlier this month, they shared a video on her Instagram stories as she snapped a mirror selfie while at the gym. In the clip, she can be seen wearing green leggings and a gray zip-up hoodie, pushing a black stroller that was fully covered, her daughter inside. Her favorite workout partner, she said. All right, so check out, if you want to see this, if you want to see her freezer full of breast milk, hop over to Instagram and check out Brittany Mahomes showing off her breast milk. Breast milk. All right, you Swifties. I had to have a Taylor Swift story, right? Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift stepped out together for the first time since the Super Bowl. That's right, they've been in hiding. What could they have been doing? Stepped out for the first time following the Super Bowl in February after they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, making most of his offseason in Taylor's free time to post-era tours. The couple enjoyed some time in Park City, Utah during the first week of March, where they made sure to grab dinner out together, as seen on social media March 10th. Travis donned a white shirt for the occasion, complete with a gray beanie. He always dresses so odd. We commented on this, Cheyenne. Complete with a gray beanie. I lost my place there. Gray beanie, and held the door to their car open for Taylor, who, for her part, was just seen in a gray coat. Marks the first time that they've been seen since the Super Bowl, and she's able to support her guy and step out every way that she can. Travis, for his part, is ready to stay within the Chiefs family for now, while there were rumors that he might be hanging up his jersey after last season, including she wanted him to, so they could start a family, according to some rumors. The biggest thing is I effing love playing the game of football, he told his brother Jason on their podcast. I still feel like I can play at a high level, and possibly at a high level that I did last year. Because while the Chiefs had an impressive record for the Super Bowl, he felt that his performance left something to be desired. He hardly had any touches in the game at all. I have a bad taste in my mouth now on how I ended the year and how well I was playing and how accountable I was for the people around me. I love so many of the people in Kansas City, in that facility, in that community, and it's home for me right now. I don't want to leave that life yet. And she's fully supporting and encouraging him to play at the game at this time, according to an interview with Stephen A. Smith in January. She loves coming to Arrowhead and coming to the games and cheering for me, so I get all the support in the world to keep chasing my dreams. For the pair's sweetest dreams, well, that remains to be seen. So make the friendship bracelets, everybody is saying. I don't understand a friendship bracelet. Somebody's going to have to explain that to me. I understand that I have one on the way to me in the mail. That terrifies me. I don't know what a Travis or a Taylor Swift friendship bracelet is. So I'm just terrified by this thought. Luke Combs has been dealing with a debilitating struggle with OCD. He recently shared insight into his particularly wicked relationship with OCD during a recent flare-up while performing in Australia earlier this year. The beautiful, crazy singer recently opened up about his struggles with OCD, including how the condition, which causes him to have intrusive thoughts, has affected him since the start of his career. It's thoughts essentially that you don't want to have, Luke, 35, said in an interview with 60 Minutes Australia. The thoughts, they cause you to be stressed out, and then stresses you to have more thoughts, and then you don't understand why you're having them. You're trying to get rid of them, but doing so makes you have more of them. I understand. I feel your pain. Despite having those plaguing thoughts, he said that he handles his OCD really well, but occasionally his disorder, which was first diagnosed at the age of 12, sneaks up on him at unexpected moments, such as his 2 sold-out shows in Sydney last month. The first 2 weeks for me were like a rumination of stuff that wasn't ideal, the country star revealed in an episode. It's very tedious to pull yourself out of it. You have to know what to do. Luke shares 2 sons, Tex Lawrence 2 and Bo Lee 19, with his wife, Nicole Hawking, and said that he considers himself to be an expert in slowing down his episodes. He feels for those who are struggling with any form of OCD. It manifests in so many ways, including some common types that deal with fears that lead you to do repetitive behaviors. Kind of like having a podcast every day, right? While the singer described his variant of the disorder as particularly wicked, he's learned to embrace his OCD, comforting those intrusive thoughts with less fear. When it happens, I'm not afraid of it because I'm not like, what if I'm like this forever? He continued. I know I'm not going to be like this forever. All right. Well, I did not know that he was having that problem. So, whoa, I don't know what just happened there. Oh, I was pulling up an article about robo taxis. I don't know what the heck that was. So there's a new company called Waymo. It is now offering 24/7 robo taxis in Silicon Valley. So if you're looking to get a robo taxi in Silicon Valley, they're now available. They're going to be expanding. According to Waymo, the autonomous vehicles are only accessible to the company's employees currently across the Silicon Valley, which includes Google and their Waymo headquarters, but they're going to be expanding 24/7 out in California. So you can get a robo taxi. Isn't that weird? I never thought I would hear the words robo and taxi together. But apparently they're autonomous vehicles that will transport you to and fro for a fee. And it's going to be expanding their service all across California, starting in Silicon Valley. So there was another thing I wanted to share with you. And I don't know if I could find the image. It was on Twitter. But it was an image showing. No. Was this it? Nope. Let me go to X and see if I can find it, because it was a great photo showing the number of suicides as compared to. Let me just go to my site first. Did I like it? Probably not. The number of suicides in the United States compared to the number of measles cases. And you see what the media was making out of, I'm not going to be able to find the image. I thought I'd saved it. Did I not save this image? Because I wanted to share it with y'all to show you. The media is currently making a big deal out of this measles outbreak, which is currently north of 200, but they're saying that these measles cases. No, I don't know where I saved it to, but they're saying that the measles cases, there's only like 300, but in the past year, there's been well over 1 million deaths by suicide, and reporting on the measles outbreak of 200 is a massive news story, but the amount of Americans killing themselves isn't. Yeah, I think that the media is basically focusing on the wrong thing. So not that we shouldn't be concerned, because measles is a very contagious virus. You should be vaccinated. You should have been vaccinated at childbirth. Well, not at birth, but shortly thereafter. But suicide, when we were talking about the OCD with Luke Combs, made me think of that. With there's the high number of suicides. There was a higher number of traffic automobile deaths. There was a higher number of multiple things over 2 measles deaths. really want to find this image because it really highlighted the number well. See if I can find it and share it because I saved it somewhere, but where, I don't know. That's the question. Where did I save it? Did I save it there? Yep, I sure did. Kevin Bass. That's where I can find it on X. Hopefully there's no Kevin Bass that has X-rated stuff when I keep it. Oh, let's see. Here we go. Him, this guy. It's one of his posts that he posted. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is, if you want to see the protests in France, this is what they were doing. So they were basically saying that Americans were Nazis. Go check it out. It's an interesting protest. Cheyenne, let me know if you protest similarly. And there's the rate of, yeah, there's only been 222 measles cases, and to date, there's only been 2 deaths in the United States. How long ago was this tweet? Good Lord. He tweets a lot, apparently. Trying to find this graphic. Because this really highlighted, it's 1,100,000 suicides, 1,500,000 overdoses, 17,800,000 from 1999 to 2025 for measles deaths in the United States. Do you think the media is focused on the wrong thing? I agree with him. The media is focused on the wrong thing. We need to be focused on suicide prevention, the fentanyl problem that we have coming in at our borders, particular borders to the south. But China is bringing the bad stuff in. We need to make it stop. And we also need to be worried about heart disease, especially in the South. As a paramedic, I can tell you our diets are not the healthiest in the world. And, well, our health system doesn't really help out with that. So heart disease is a growing epidemic in this country. The guy tweets a lot, and I've probably missed it somewhere. But at any rate, Can you search on Twitter for like what one person says? This is Kevin Bass, PhD tweeted this, and it caught my eye. Come on, get back to the top. Good Lord, how many windows did it open? Can you? Yeah. I guess you can search for just one. Yeah, can you search for? You can. There we go. There it is. So, from 1999 to 2025, this is in America, suicides, 1,100,000. Overdose, 1,500,000. Heart attack, 17,800,000. Measles death, 4. So people are panicking for the wrong reasons. We need to become more hysterical about the other things and not the measles. Like I said, measles are bad, but I don't want people to take away from this conversation that I don't think the measles are bad, but the chances of dying from it are significantly less than other things. And you, of course, should be vaccinated, because I believe in 2013, the United States had basically said that it was non-existent in our country. So it may have been as more recent as 2021. But the 4 deaths, why are they more important? Well, we're highlighting these because of why. Current administration has somebody in there who's anti-vax. So we're highlighting those 4 deaths, but minimizing the other 3 million people roughly that died between 99 and 2025 from overdose, suicide, and heart attack. Actually, it's over 3 million. So we're isolating those people out over 4 deaths so that we can talk about vaccinations. That's the media. Mainstream media is trying to push that narrative. So think about why they're trying to push that narrative. Think about why the mainstream media isn't worried that 1,100,000 people are committing suicide. We have a mental health crisis in the United States. We have it in the world, actually. And then the fentanyl overdosing is totally ridiculous and out of control at 1,500,000. Think about that. Why is the mainstream media highlighting that? Why are they so focused on that rather than something else? So just some food for thought there. I saw that and I wanted to share it and see if there's anything. Some other breaking news, according to some breaking news as we're coming on the show, FBI Director Kash Patel is requesting a direct line to Trump, skipping the chain of command to Bondi. That kind of rattled some feathers, but I assume he's got a reason for it. So he wants a private and secure phone line. And I was trying to see if there's anything else there. They're going to try and make a big deal out of this. The media is going to do the same thing with the Patel Bondi thing, is that they're doing with Elon Musk and Senator Marco Rubio. They're going to try and make a big deal out of it. It's a blow up. It's a conflict. So be looking for that in the mainstream media. Wow. Ben and Jerry's, really? Wow. Ben and Jerry's promotes National Abortion Provider Appreciation Day. Wow. Thanks, Ben and Jerry. Yeah, I'll leave that right there. You can go look. It's a tweet from Ben and Jerry's. They support Abortion Care Providers Day. Yay, good news. Let's see. We know that Ukraine last night launched the largest drone assault yet, directly on Moscow. 337 drones, killing 3 civilians, damaging homes, and the peace talks are underway. Where are they getting these drones from? We're not getting them, so. And family of Irish teacher Enoch Burke, who was jailed for over 500 days for rejecting pronouns, travels to Washington, D.C. to speak with President Trump, although there is no official White House invitation. Let's see. Just kind of scanning the headlines here since we got a few extra minutes. Actually, let's go to him. Now let's go to his site. He's got usually some great weathered information. Yeah, he's talking about the you see here in the images, he's talking about the storms that's going to be going across the country. By the end of the week, it will have made it all the way across the East Coast, and there's going to be some intense storms, so keep an eye on that. And he said all hell is going to break loose Friday and Saturday with the high winds, so keep an eye on that. That's something to watch out for. And let's just hashtag anything breaking before we get off the air. We got a few extra minutes today. Got about 15 extra minutes. Cheyenne, if you're free and want to hop on, you can. Let's see if there's anything breaking here lately. Air activity, Pakistan. That's dealing with the hijacking. All right. And they are open to a 30-day ceasefire. Okay, Ukraine says it is open to a U.S.-backed 30-day ceasefire with Russia as long as the Kremlin agrees to a 30-day ceasefire. That's breaking news right now, currently. And all right, so Mark Rubio says is announcing that he and Trump have secured a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. Today, we've made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire into the immediate negotiations to the end of this conflict. That's breaking news right now. And breaking news, Ontario is suspending its electrical surcharge to the U.S. Ford will go to the United States this week with a meeting with Secretary of Commerce Howard Luck. All right, so apparently they've suspended their surcharge on U.S. electricity. I told you it's only going to hurt for a little while. Breaking news: Ukraine has agreed to a ceasefire pending a Kremlin agreement. So, waiting on Putin's signature. But apparently, we've agreed to a U.S.-led ceasefire. We're just waiting on Kremlin approval. So that's breaking news right now. Let's hope that we can secure that deal. Let's hope that we can get Russia to the table in the next 30 days, negotiate a total and complete end to this war. Good news. Chris, you're right. You know why it's being pushed. You know exactly why it's being pushed. That is great news for Ukraine and Russia. So that they've agreed to a ceasefire. They're agreeing to a ceasefire. And we give Israel way too much money too, but we give a lot of countries way too much money. The U.S. has secured the deal, and it's being finalized in Saudi Arabia. They're waiting on the Kremlin to check it off, but apparently it's been agreed to by everybody. All right, so but the breaking news was more about Ukraine, but supposedly they're suspending the tariffs or the electricity tariffs until he can go meet with the president soon, the new leader of Canada. That's good news. So good news all the way around right before we slip out of here. So if anybody has any comments or questions, please feel free to hop in the chat. It's been a good show, better than yesterday. I remember the Monday before, it was also kind of choppy getting started. I don't know if Mondays is a bad internet day or if it's just the stuff that was going on with the tax on the companies was just tying up the interwebs. But yesterday's show sucked. Even I talked to Ross about it, and he said his show had some problems too. So I don't feel as bad about it, but it yesterday really bothered me that I didn't get you guys a great show. Yeah, it did roll much smoother. I'm learning more. I'm trying more and more to get into the flow. I don't want to also be repetitive, and I try and look for things that I think that people would be interested in, not just me or not just here in America, especially since we have the support of Radio X, and we've had so many supporters from Radio X, according to the owner, that they agreed to giving us the extra hour of the show. I really want to get information to them that's pertinent. So if anyone has anything they want me to cover or talk about sports, I am willing to learn about any sport. Maybe not hockey. I don't know. I just never have figured out hockey. But send me an information. No stream boo, go the hell away. A troll on I guess I should put somebody in the comments. I need an admin. I'm getting big enough to where I need an admin. I think that's what they're called on YouTube. Yeah, if anybody has anything specific they want, they can send it to me at sportcat@protonmail.com. You can also get me through Yerg's Radio. So Chris says, yesterday was not on you, Glenn. If Elon had tech issues, I think you are allowed. Yeah, well, I didn't do anything different today than I did, except for I didn't bring up one map. Just for giggles, let's bring it up and see if that was the problem. But I didn't bring up the one map, but everything else I brought up. So we'll close all these others because we're done with them. I don't need all these windows open because we got the breaking news off of X. But this was just I brought this map up. It shows the light and day, where it's light in the world and dark in the world, and it shows where it's cold, like in Canada, which extends down to, it's in the 50s in the Midwest, and further south you go, it's in the 70s. Currently here in Atlanta, it's 70. My favorite place in the world, Key West. What is it? Oh, it's got to be warmer than 69. I don't buy that in Key West. There's no way. I don't buy the Key West is 6. How is Key West 69 and I'm warmer here in Atlanta? I don't buy that. Well, it says we're 66. In Australia, in Fahrenheit, you guys are having a warm day in the 80s. Along the coast, it's in the 60s and 70s, but pretty much all across Canada, it's in the low 70s, low 80s, high 70s. So let's go back here. The main thing that interests me about this map is this right here along the coastline. That's right. 3D wind map does not bring me any tech issues. It just works, and it brings happiness and peace. So, well, Casey, you missed it. In Casey, you missed it. I had some Taylor Swift news, so you missed it. But this right here is what I'm paying most attention to. This is why I wanted to look at this map. This tells us the water along the coast, the temperatures, and it's telling me when I'm starting to plan my vacation where I need to go to get warm water. I typically would go to the Gulf down in here, but I'm thinking I may have to go a little bit further south. So maybe we might go check out Pine Island, Florida, or maybe we'll hop over to Miami. I got to get Mr. Sportcat on board with this. I guess I could grab KG have him fly in from Virginia, and me and him could just go. But yeah, so that's the main reason I was looking at this, to see what the water temperatures were. It was for my own selfish, greedy interests. So, but yeah, this map on Zoom Earth shows you the temperatures anywhere in the world. Right now, if you were to say Greenland was our 51st state, it's right around 0. Yeah, it's cold up there. And if we were to take Canada, it's cold up there too. So I'm not interested. Coldest I've ever been in my life was in Red Deer. And where is Red Deer? Is that Manitoba? No, that is not Manitoba. That is Calgary. And the coldest I ever was in my entire life was in Red Deer, Canada. It's currently 32, but it was negative 52. That's right. You missed it, Casey. Taylor Swift news was that Travis had on a white shirt and gray beanie, and they were seen in Utah together, exchanging, what is it called? Public display of affection, PDA. Yeah, that was the news. So the first time they've been seen out in public since the Super Bowl. So, well, since we got a few minutes, we'll just wind it up with the good stuff here. We'll go right to the one that makes us all happy and brings us all so much peace and joy. Where is it? It's down here somewhere. There it is. There it is, Casey. So if you missed it, you got that. So there you go. We'll end the show with showing the famous wind map. Yes, and I'm terrified of my friendship bracelet. My only request is for years I've worn a red and black firefighter bracelet showing support. It's it's the thin red line. And do they make these friendship bracelets in red and black, or is this going to be some girly beads or something I got to put on? I'm kind of concerned about this, so I don't know. If you're a loyal fan or listener and you have a friendship bracelet horror story, let me know. I would be more than happy to share it. So, oh, all right. So for everybody with Australia Radio X, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. It's been great. I really hope to start hearing some more from you. And I would really like a Wednesday waffle. I will play it if you want to send it to, do I have it over here on, where I can send it on text. If you want to send it to, well, you can email it to me if you want, Sportcat at Proton Mail, or you can go to speakpipe.com /Sportcat, and you can send me a audio Wednesday waffle. But I would like to see your Wednesday waffle, or, just at me on Twitter. If you put it on Twitter, your Wednesday waffle, you can look for my Wednesday waffle. I'm going to wait and post my Wednesday waffle after the show. So it will be after this, about 24 hours tomorrow. So I got to think of what I'm going to put in my Wednesday waffle. Everything I'm grateful for the week, everything I'm thankful for, which is the fans at Radio X and our new fans at WZQR in Pine Island, Florida. And of course, we want to also thank, they don't get this show per se, but the Bigfoot Radio Network carries my other show, So we want to thank them. And of course, Ross at yergsradio.com. He's got a lot of my replays of older shows, including a show I don't do any longer called The Misfits, that you can go check out. And you can also go to Rainbow Radio and hear us. So we're supported by many people, and we appreciate it. So that's probably what our Wednesday Waffle will be about. But share your Wednesday Waffle. If for some reason you just want to send me an email telling me what it is, that's cool too, or a comment. I'd appreciate it. We're getting more engaged with our chat audience and our fans, and I want to continue to encourage this because I think it's going to be what makes the show great. I wouldn't say it makes the show great again, but it's a new show, so it's got to be great to start with. So we're learning as we go. So, all right. Well, I'm going to sign out of here because it's about that time. No matter where you are in this world, hold on, I'll play my little sound effect.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
That's right. In case I don't see you, no matter where you are in this part of the world, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Everybody have a great day. I appreciate your support. Let's see if I can do this. Ooh, I can do that. And I can just go out of here like this. I can just leave the spinning globe up there. I like that. Maybe I should do this every day. So everybody have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same location. Until then, everybody have a great day. I'll see you soon. Hit my outro.